Wizards and the Knicks from Madison Square Garden in New York. Mark Brown with you from the ESPN studio. Hope you're enjoying our NBA halftime reports. Take a look back at some first half highlights. And of course, you know Michael's going to be in this one. Any nerves? You couldn't tell in the early going. Get the ball in a post-up situation. Goes by Sprewell and lays it in for his first basket of his second comeback. How about some more Michael? Off the screen, gets free at the free throw line. A pull-up jumper, looking pretty good. Got to play defense, though, Michael. You remember, in transition, you got to watch out for Latrell Sprewell. Sprewell left alone. Jordan a little late getting out there. And Sprewell strokes the three. Knicks were just 2 of 11 from three-point range. Trailed on the way into the second quarter. And then Michael gave some defense there. One of his 3 steals as he knocks it away. A little transition. He's going to go out to Chris Whitney for the 3. Knicks went 6 minutes without a score in the second quarter, trailed by as many as 10 at one point. But then they would get some things going. Sprewell going to open himself up along the baseline, shoots the jumper over Tyrone Nesby. As New York would scramble to try and get back into things just before the half. A 4-point game here. Off the missed jumper. Witherspoon tracks it down, almost lost it out of bounds, then finds Harrington inside. Can't hit, but tips it back in. It was a 2-point game. That is where it would end at the end of the first quarter. Here's a look at your leading scorers. Michael Jordan leading the way, as he has been used to doing throughout his entire NBA career. 5 for 13 from the field. Richard Hamilton, Chris Whitney with 7 apiece. Latrell Sprewell, the only Knick in double figures. Allen Houston scored all 9 of his points in the early going. Mark Jackson has 7. So far, so good for Michael Jordan. He and his Wizards have the lead over the Knicks. When we come back, we will have the start of the second half.
Step up or get out of the way. The coveted pull for the World Cup.
The NBA on ESPN has an opening night doubleheader starting in New York, where the Knicks and the Wizards are at the half. It's a 2-point deficit for the Knicks. They're in the fourth quarter. Boston's gone over 100, and their lead is now 25 over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Pearson Walker, what a tremendous tandem they were last year. Wow, they are doing it again this year. Let's get back out for the start of the third quarter at the Garden.
11-point lead down to just a 2-point lead. Meanwhile, for the Knicks, Latrell Sprewell has the busy job. Not only does he have to guard Michael Jordan, obviously he'll get some help in the double teams, but Coach Van Gundy also wants him to release and run the other court and start the fast break and get moving at both ends of the court. So right now, 2-point game. I guess the Wizards have to be happy on the road. Kevin?
All right, well, Michael Jordan has been known to get after some things, and that is what he's done so far. In the air, kind of in the air, and on the ground. Sprewell into Spencer. And that's to the New York Knicks. Open up the second half as they tie it. Felton Spencer has played for many teams for many years in the NBA. He's out of Louisville. Patrick Ewing, of course, left here 2 years ago. No more Larry Johnson. Marcus Camby, the heir apparent to that pivot position, injured in a walking cast. Will not play for at least 5 games, maybe longer. Spencer rejects Leitner. And a Courtney Alexander 15-footer won't go. Rebound by Allen Houston.
And Courtney's got to learn to move without the ball. He's just kind of standing and watching the games being played on the isolations to Michael.
Sprewell into Leitner. And the rebound is swallowed by Jahidi White.
You're watching the Michael's pushing the ball up the court right now, and they're just all standing and watching Michael, not even running the lanes, just kind of standing and watching to see what he might do in the transition.
Hamilton slithering inside. Houston steals the ball. 4 Wizard turnovers. Ahead to Kurt Thomas. And 4-0 to begin the second half for New York.
Well, one of the things that's quite obvious that Van Gundy has told him to step the pace up and get down and test the Wizards' transition defense, as well as pushing the ball inside as quickly as they could.
Hamilton with a fake on Jackson.
Well, I like him. He definitely has to get involved in the offense a lot more because he shoots the ball so purely.
He's got 9, and he doubled his scoring from his rookie to his second year by 9 points. 18 points a game a season ago for Rip Hamilton. Houston inside. That's a goaltend on Jahidi White. Counted for 2. The Knicks on top by 2 with 2 minutes gone here in the third quarter.
Well, and this is one of the reasons. You see the Knicks pushing the ball down the floor in this terrible transition defense. They almost triple-teamed the ball. No communications was involved, and that's one of the reasons why Van Gundy is trying to attack them with the fast break right now.
Wizards with Jordan, White, Alexander, Hamilton, and Christian Laettner. New York Knicks, Sprewell and Houston, Jackson, Thomas, and Spencer. And a Nick foul. This is on Allen Houston. Picks up his second of the night. It looked like Hamilton may have gotten scratched on the eye. New York's offense tonight. This has never been known as a scoring team. You can see where they have gotten their points.
Well, they should be able to score. Washington's defense is not good. They haven't even had a chance to work on the new rules of the zone. They have so many young players who are trying to implement an offense. Their offense, they have no continuity. They just pass and move around. But New York should be able to score. They're getting open shots all over the place. They're settling for outside shots. And I'm sure Jeff Van Gundy told them at halftime, get the ball to the basket and take advantage where they had a big advantage in the first half of the free throw line.
Well, they really looked like a team that was practicing the offense, Danny, as opposed to looking to get shots off of the offense.
Laettner gets it, and Christian now 2 of 7 for the night. There's Houston for 3, something that the Knicks could not convert but one time in 9 attempts in that first half. A good save by Spencer. Jackson, Sprewell for the triple.
And see, they're getting any shot they want. I mean, Allen Houston coming down the court after a made basket. He gets a wide open 3. That's just horrible defense by Washington.
Well, Nesby was the only one pursuing the ball. The rest of the Wizards stood in the lane, and the Knicks end up still getting an open shot.
Nesby is in for Hamilton. Laettner tries to corkscrew one up, and he traveled. A turnover for Washington. 5 for the game, 2 in the quarter.
Well, and you're looking at this, you see the effort by Spencer hustling. That's great hustle, getting out, getting his hands on the ball and diving for the loose ball.
Houston missed it. Here comes Alexander galloping the other way into the defense. Mark Jackson finds 2.
That's a guy that needs to be included in that offense a little bit. I think he can do more offensively, Danny, than he's doing for this team. He needs to relax and become a part of things.
Well, right, but what he does, Coach, is, he's strictly a one-on-one player. He needs to learn to play off of Michael and off of Hamilton and create some offense in other ways rather than just getting the ball playing one-on-one.
Well, there's only room for one-on-one play on that team, and that's going to be Michael.
Jordan has not scored so far in this second half. 8.5 to play in the third. Maneuvering on Sprewell. Inside to White. Coughed up. Another Wizards turnover.
Ajadi should have made that basket. That was a great pass. Michael's being very unselfish. He goes into him to get him started.
Sprewell with the 3. He's got 16, and he's recorded 6 in this third quarter. And finally, the capacity crowd of over 20,000 with something to cheer with 8:16 to play in the third. And the Knicks with their biggest lead of 6 in the game.
Now, Michael's trying to give him encouragement, but nobody. I mean, what is Tyrone Nesby doing down under the basket? No communication in their transition defense.
And a timeout by Washington.
Exclusively on Music Country. Whether it's loud or mellow, electric or acoustic, you love the guitar. And
Well, so far, almost 39%. It gets Milwaukee's turn to break through.
Houston, stay attached to him. If he curls, somebody's going to help him. We can help back. Stay with him and chase now. Come on, guys. Come on, let's go.
The words of Doug Collins moments ago.
The problem with that is some of the terminology. I question whether some of these young guys even know what that means. This franchise has some bad habits. They've been a losing team. That's why I think another reason why Michael's stepping out of the suit and putting on his basketball uniform to show that leadership, because they have such horrible habits, and you can see it tonight.
Jackson picks up Jordan. 10 seconds on the shot clock, and over Mark Jackson. Second miss in this half by Michael Jordan. Jackson the other way. He's almost as old as Michael. He's 36. And Sprewell picked up by Alexander. Again, new defensive rules this year in the NBA. You can play zone in New York's first second half turnover.
Well, it's quite obvious that the Knicks are pushing the ball. They see the weakness in the Wizards and not getting back quickly. So they're trying to get down and get into very early offense, and it's effective. I'd like to see Michael try to initiate more offense, though. That equal opportunity offense stuff is fine, but this team, Danny, is not strong enough.
Well, I think New York's doing them a favor, actually, by coming out and trapping Michael at half court right there. They throw the ball to Christian Laettner. He doesn't even dribble the ball. He stands there with him for 3 seconds. He's got to attack and make a play off that double team.
It's the third personal foul on Felton Spencer. This is Jordan's 28th visit to the league's most storied arena. He played here last on March 8, 1998. And with Chicago, he scored 42 points, and he was 35, and now 38, making his second comeback. In his first comeback, 1995, after playing some baseball, played here against the Knicks and scored 55 points. So this has a very special feeling for him. 13 tonight for Michael Jordan. Jackson, rebound by Thomas, back to Latrell. Rebound by White. Is Jordan tired, Danny?
Well, Jordan has been tired throughout this game. I think after the timeout, he came back with a little freshness, but he has been tired a lot throughout this game. And Jahidi has got to catch those balls. They're not guarding him underside. That's the third time Michael's found him, and he has a tough time chasing and catching those. He's like a tackle trying to catch a ball. They need to be a tight end at least.
Well, he's as big as a tag. He's as big as an offensive line, actually.
Watch yourself now. Watch yourself.
Hey, but we'll watch.
That's a big man.
We'll watch Jahidi shoot the free throws.
You got 3 guys hitting the man underneath the basket.
Coach Thompson shot Jahidi how to shoot free throws too. Let's see how good he does.
No,
here.
I told him how to rebound. I told him let somebody else shoot the free throw.
Jahidi is 4 years out of Georgetown, a career 56% free throw shooter. Last year, a career high in points and rebounds. Born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, in Jahadi's job, he's got to set screens. He's got to rebound. He's not going to be a major offensive player for them right now. He'll get a lot off of penetration and folks dishing him the ball, and he's going up for it.
Jordan has played 24 minutes. He has 13 points so far. Here's a whistle away from the ball. As Hamilton was trying to defend and picks up a foul. He's got 2 tonight.
Well, it's hard for Hamilton to get through some of those screens, the slightness of his body. You also are guarding a guy like Houston who's got good body strength. But I have noticed that Latrell Sprewell and Houston have stepped up their aggressiveness and aren't just running the offense.
Both teams shooting about 43% from the field. Here's Allen Houston with 2. White fights for the ball. Leitner gathers it in, and here comes Washington led by Michael Jordan. Courtney Alexander working on Jackson with a drive and whittling his way toward the lane, and a foul called on Jackson of New York. He's got 2.
There again, the ball's thrown up a court. Michael does a good job of hitting him from half court up to the wing, and he holds it for 5 seconds before he does anything with it. He's got to learn to catch that ball, shoot, catch, and drive, and make a play. Everyone's standing around and watching him play one-on-one.
We have not talked extensively tonight about the new defensive rules, but what are both of your impressions so far, Danny?
Haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
I mean, haven't seen either team spend a lot of time. New York is traditionally a good man-to-man defensive team. I haven't seen any adjustments in their game. In Washington, like I said, I don't think they've had time to do much because they're so young.
Well, I agree. It's early in the year. I think during special situation, timeouts, under the basket, sideline plays, you'll see a lot more trapping. May see people spring into more zones, but it'll be strategically used more so than just an overall usage of particular zones and traps.
Hamilton. Washington is now rebounding the New York Knicks by 3, 26-23. Houston for 2 at the other end, with under 6 to play in the third quarter.
I think that's the matchup that the Knicks can really exploit, is the matchup of Houston being defended by Hamilton. Every time he gets a good shot, every time they go to him.
Knicks have 11 turnovers. The Washington Wizards have 7. Jordan against Thomas. And Thomas was shoving with the hand check and draws the foul. Now he has 4 personals for the New York Knicks. As you take a look at Jeff Van Gundy, now in his 7th year coaching the Knicks, took the place of Pat Riley.
Well, you know, and you asked Kevin the question about Michael being tired. I don't think he's ever played on a team recently where he's been under such mental and physical strain as he is with this team. Not only does he have to use up all his physical energy, mentally in guiding some of these younger players, he's going to be under stress too.
Now Jordan is 4 of 5 from the free throw line. Michael Jordan's biggest move is trading Juwan Howard when he was still the president of the team, and the guy that they liked the most was Courtney Alexander. He made sure that Alexander was definitely a part of that trade.
Well, they like Courtney Alexander, and they want Eton Thomas to come. He hasn't had a chance to play tonight, but he's a big man, young, a rookie, coming off an injury last year, first-round draft pick, but he's got to learn the game, too, and you can't play so many young guys. But the guy that they really like, I think one of the best moves they've made was the signing of Brendan Haywood in the trade from the Ron Prophet.
And he's injured. Will play about 5 to 6 days, they think. The foul is blown inside on Othello Harrington. Picks up his 3rd of the night.
Well, Othello, you see he's coming in. He understands that Jihadi is going to react and block the shot. He tried to put his arm between him and the basket, but he pushed off. It was a good call, but also was a good play on Othello's part in trying to screen Jihadi off.
Leitner's been quiet. Alexander fires from outside. Hamilton dueling with Jackson inside. It's off of New York.
Well, there again, I mean, I think that was a design play, but why Christian Leitner catches the ball and goes out to set a screen for Courtney Alexander shoot a 20-foot fadeaway. Christian can shoot and score one-on-one. I've seen him do it, and Othello Harrington's no defensive stopper.
Washington has missed their last 6 shots. Hamilton picks up another foul. He's got 3. You see the rebounding story right there as the Knicks now have left in front of Washington in that category, and that was a main concern. Doug Collins control the glass in some form or another. They did in the first half, but they're losing that battle here in the second. Nice pass inside to Harrington, and that feed from on top, and Allen Houston.
Same move without making contact. Stretched away from him, used the other arm to shield. Jihadi didn't attack it. Interestingly enough, Michael Jordan yelled to Christian Leitner on the last play. Good shot, trying to reassure him.
Leitner's 2 of 9, now 2 of 10 with that miss right there. Jordan is 5 of 15, and for the first time tonight, the Washington Wizards have gone below 40% shooting for their coach, Doug Collins, down to 39.5 in the fourth.
I think Christian's been fouled the last 2 or 3 times he's gone to the basket. Maybe that's why he's a little gun shy out there, but I think that he's getting beat up down there.
Well, one of the things that he's reluctant to be aggressive offensively, you get out of the habit of doing it with a firmness and a confidence, too. He's got to get back in the frame of mind of a scorer.
Hamilton is out. Tyrone Nesby is in. And a foul for the first is assessed Nesby. He played at UNLV, came to trade last November with the Los Angeles Clippers. Shot clock at 17, big clock at 4:22 here in the third. Kevin Harlan, Danny Ainge, John Thompson, along with Peter Bessie and Craig Sager at the Garden. Shot clock at 9. Nesby guarding Houston, or trying to guard Houston. That was easy.
It's easy
inside.
But, this is just really bad defense, especially the new rules allow you to come and help easier from the weak side. And right here, they just isolate Houston. Jeff Van Gundy's trying to get away from the isolations because the new rules, it's going to be difficult. But Washington hasn't figured out the new rules yet. Christian Leitner doesn't even ever get over there. He's not a shot blocker. It's bad defense. The play before, they run a double screen away for Houston. Courtney Alexander could easily switch out and take him the way the new rules allow, but they're not doing anything within the new rules to help them defensively.
Remember, one of the things that Doug Collins said to us is that they're way behind on defense. That's the indication of that. I went to one of their practices last week, and I saw him work on rotations. There was absolutely no defensive rotation on that play.
18 in the game for Allen Houston. 9 in the quarter. And the Knicks have their biggest lead. Here comes Jordan. He takes it inside, faces a triple team. That means Popeye Jones is open. Harrington gets the rebound. Here comes Jackson with a 3-on-3. And one of the best playmakers in recent memory, Mark Jackson, will feed to Sprewell.
Transition defense was better that time with the Wizards.
Over 2. Sprewell can't connect. Harrington with an offensive rebound.
And that was Michael's box out. Michael was the guy that should have boxed Harrington out and wasn't there.
Jordan has played 27 minutes so far. We're keeping track of those minutes because Doug Collins says that would be a huge determining factor of how much Jordan would play per quarter. Jordan last had a field goal in the second quarter with 4:26 to play. So far, nothing from the floor, and he's got 15. Leitner picks up his second personal foul. Sprewell at the free throw line. Sprewell had some interesting comments in the New York papers a couple of days ago. He said this team is sliding downhill. It began with the departure of Patrick Ewing. Continues with the retirement of Larry Johnson. Peter, you want to weigh in on this?
Well, you know, as we all know, Sprewell is the team's most vocal leader, but he also tends to be negative. Jeff Van Gundy would call it candor, but I would call it negative, and so would his teammates. Case in point was the beginning of training camp. Van Gundy, first thing that he said to the team was, let's not use our lack of height as an excuse. And the next day, Sprewell, and from then on, has been talking about their lack of height. You know, Danny, I know you want to be a general manager, and these players all talk about these things all the time. They say, why didn't you get a big man? Why didn't you get a quality scorer? Well, guess what? They're over the cap. Tell us how we're supposed to do such a thing.
I agree. There aren't any big guys out there, but I do agree also with Sprewell and that the team has gone downhill a little bit, unless they get Camby back and he's healthy and plays like he did 2 years ago.
Well, the New York Knicks have the second highest payroll in the NBA, $83 million. As you take a look, some of the emotions, passions of Michael Jordan on his return to the NBA.
Pistons and Mavs underway in Dallas. Take a look at one of the new faces for the Pistons. Zelchko, Rebraka with the beautiful up and under. The 7-foot Yugoslavian rookie, 29 years old, mind you, with a nice move inside. At the moment, Detroit with the three-point lead. Jerry Stackhouse leading the way for the Pistons with 11. Michael Finley, 6 of 9 from the field for the Mavs. This one's a final in Cleveland. Boston smacking the Cavs, 108-89.
64-57. The New York Knicks on top. There's Michael Keaton. And Chris Rock is here. Matthew Bodine. And there's Kevin Bacon. And New York Ranger Mark Messier. And Max Bickford on CBS. Richard Dreyfuss, Oscar Award winning actor. Danny Ainge is here, along with John Thompson.
Right next to Walt Frazier. What a miles.
It's a star-studded group to watch this. We already know that one seat in the building sold for over $100,000. The story that Craig Sager told you about earlier tonight next to Spike Lee. That was money donated to charity, and Spike gave it up.
I tried to sell Coach Thompson's seat for $100 grand, but nobody wanted to sit by me and you, Kev.
If we'd have brought some food, they probably would have, right?
I don't blame anyone for not wanting to buy a seat, particularly sitting near Ainge.
Yeah. Othello Harrington just picked up his 4th foul as we take a look at Christian Laettner at the free throw line, a career high last year in free throw percentage and field goal percentage. After this game, we send you out to the Staples Center in Los Angeles. The world champions will take on the Portland Trail Blazers with the new coach, a couple new players, and hopefully a new attitude, because attitude is what sunk them last year.
Will David Stern be there? Speed of light?
I don't know. He can do a lot of things. I don't know if he can do that. But Danny, an interesting question nonetheless that you asked. Here's Harrington. 2.5 to play in the third. Shuffling inside on Jones, who gathers in the rebound. Chris Whitney from the floor tonight has gone 4 of 5. He has been the only consistent scorer off the bench the Wizards have had. Hamilton. MJ is on the bench. Shot clock is down at 8.
The Wizards are locking the floor. There's no movement off of the ball. The guy with the ball is going to be forced to take a jump shot.
Well, there's no continuity in their offense. They run one play, try to get whoever they want with the ball, and then it's just stand around and watch that player play.
Michael Jordan has sunk his head a couple times tonight, and he has shown a grimace that you normally don't see on his normally composed face like that.
Well, and that's what I'm amused at, all this teacher talk. I'm going to be very interested in finding out how quickly the teacher becomes a tiger, because I don't think Michael's going to sit around too long and be content with not winning basketball games.
Well, and I think that they want to try to find a way to keep the game close, and Michael will turn into Michael in the fourth quarter. It's going to be hard for him to be Michael throughout the course of the game like we're used to seeing him play, but they got to keep the game close, and that's going to be the difficult part with these young players. But you can see offensively they're confused, defensively they're confused, and I think a lot of that has to do with the youth and the bad habits that Doug Collins has his hands full to try to change.
Hamilton going inside and collides with Harrington. And Othello Harrington was the main culprit on that particular play, and he picks up the foul.
And Hamilton's another one of those guys because of his lightness. You know, he doesn't have great body weight. Every time, Danny, he gets hit, goes through a screen, he pays a price for it because he's not really a big body player. Right. His offensive ability is such that if he gains strength, I think he would really be effective.
Harrington leaves. Shandon Anderson is in the game with Weatherspoon, Spencer, Houston, and Jackson. Jackson has played a lot of minutes in this third quarter. Now under 2 to play, a low-scoring game as you might expect from the struggling Knicks and the woefully bad Wizards of the past. And the shooting holds it up for Washington, just 29%. Anderson to Houston. Been very quiet in this building tonight too. As you entered, there was a buzz, but it has certainly died down as the night has gone on. Jones with the rebound, triggers it out to Hamilton, who lost it. Houston was defending. It is off the Wizards, and a nice play by Allen Houston.
Well, when the tallest guy in the court is Popeye Jones and Christian Laettner, you know why New York continues to settle for outside shots. They don't even challenge the basket. And we've already talked about the lack of weak side help on Washington.
9 turnovers in the game for the Wizards. 5 have come in this quarter. Here comes Spencer. He's a 7-footer going up against his former Minnesota teammate Christian Laettner.
Well, maybe that's why they shoot jump shots.
Well, I didn't say throw the ball to Phil Spencer. I like to see Houston drive to the basket.
Nesby to Whitney and rotating over to Hamilton, who draws the quick double. Shot clock at 8. Nesby for 3. Jones in there fighting for it. Weatherspoon tried to keep it alive. Anderson last touched it. It'll be Washington's ball. We're down to 48 seconds remaining. Well, with Michael in, you can see exactly what they've done, and without him, the staggeringly low numbers of 15 points.
Well, I thought early in the game they seemed to be a lot more relaxed than they are now, but as is the case when the game winds down, folks become more worn out and they become more under pressure to produce.
Washington has missed 10 of their last 11 shots from the field. Here comes Jackson.
But the way they stand around on offense, they have no chance to get offensive rebounds. I know they're not a great offensive rebounding team, but they get no movement off of the ball, and they're always on the outside coming to the boards with a position that's easy to block out.
Well, another thing, I wonder how many fast break baskets they've gotten in this game. They're not a transition team, so you've got to get movement and you've got to penetrate, or you've got to at least make cuts to the basket if you want layups.
Laettner with the fake on Spencer and tried to feed Jones underneath, and that goes astray. Another Washington turnover. 10 for the game, 6 for the quarter.
You've got to take that shot. You know what I mean? Because you know what you're doing. You're passing to Popeye Jones, who was making a good cut, but Christian Laettner is a good offensive player. I should say was one.
Well, Mark Jackson was the key in the second quarter for the New York Knicks that brought them close at halftime, but it's been Allen Houston's 11 points.
So Allen Houston leading a New York charge that sees them surge ahead of the Washington Wizards. Now 3 quarters in the books at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks will take a 6-point lead into the fourth.
Battle the champion Lakers in game 2 of our NBA doubleheader.
Now you see why I love this game.
That Raptors Magic game getting out of hand a bit in Orlando in the third quarter. What a great way to come back for Grant Hill. Sizing up defender, takes it by, how about that flip reverse on the backside? 22 points for Grant Hill. Tracy McGrady adds 18, the two of them combining for 40 so far. And a 24-point lead for the Magic. They are just underway in the fourth quarter. Also in the fourth quarter, the Nets trailing the Pacers now by 7. Jalen Rose has busted 40.
The offensive execution is not good. The defense is ahead of the offense, even without these two teams utilizing and taking advantage of some of the new rules that allow you to cheat a little more than in the past on defense.
So we begin the fourth quarter. with a fly inside by Nesby, a rebound and a shot up by Popeye Jones. Washington trying to stray away from a 25% shooting third quarter.
Well, and they have to definitely become a lot more effective defensively. Their team defense has got to be a lot better in terms of support. They don't have a shot blocker in the back. Well, that was an example where they forced play a little bit and got a basket off of this, and that's probably one of the few transitional fast break baskets that they come up with off of the steals.
You know, Peter's talking about lack of big men in the league, and now we're in the fourth quarter of the first game of the season, and the biggest man on the court is Christian Laettner. And that just tells you right there, there's not a lot of big guys around this league.
2-point game with Weatherspoon inside on Jones. Rebound by Nesby, and the Wizards can reclaim the lead on this possession. Possibly tie. Hamilton to Laettner, who's had a horrible night shooting 2 of 10. Nesby for 2 in the tie. Rebound by Laettner, and his tie with a 2-pointer inside.
That was just carelessness on the Knicks part because, again, the Wizards didn't have any movement. They took a jump shot from the corner. Nobody boxed out. They were in great position to box out.
Oh, Fella Harrington, 6'7". He's the biggest guy they have on the court right now. And Popeye Jones and Christian Laettner are not 2 of the biggest leapers in the league. And we see right here, Popeye gets the first one. Laettner right here. There's a run out. Ofella on the, but there's Popeye right there drawing all the attention for the only big guy, Weatherspoon, and Christian Laettner slips inside.
Laettner just picked up his 4th foul. Knicks make some changes. Anderson, Sprewell, Charlie Ward checks in. Harrington and Weatherspoon, the Knicks 5. Michael Jordan is still on the bench with a minute and a half gone here in the 4th quarter. Washington has outscored the Knicks 13-3. Anderson got a screen from Weatherspoon. Kicks it outside. Ward for 3. Rebound inside. Claimed by Hamilton, who's out there with Whitney, Nesby, Laettner, and Popeye Jones.
Wizards definitely don't want a fast break. You've got one man who gets the rebound. He gets out. And nobody fills the wings.
And that gives Washington the lead.
Well, that's ridiculous because they get back and one guy on the board for the Wizards taps the ball in against 4 Knicks.
And Popeye Jones, I mean, he can't even touch the rim and he's getting those rebounds.
But he got it in. And here's Sprewell.
This is atrocious basketball. I feel bad for both coaches. You got new players, and they're just having a difficult time executing against real defense. I mean, this is, I'm not trying to make excuses for them. It's bad. But both these teams will get better as the season goes along. And they need Shannon Anderson to do something. He's had a horrible game offensively, and the Knicks need him to step up.
Sprewell, he's a slasher. Anderson is a slasher. Why don't they run the ball in New York? That's what they're made of.
Well, they came out in the second half and were running, and they got a lot out of it. But this is the man that has to initiate things when it becomes a problem. I think early in the year, you always see teams overcompensating, running their offense, moving more methodically, as opposed to seeing guys break off and try to do things on their own.
Jones has 12. The 2 main cogs for the New York Knicks, Sprewell and Houston, have each scored 20 points in this game. Popeye Jones has been a scoring force for the Wizards in this 4th quarter with his 6 points, and he just picks up a foul right there. Jones tagged with his 3rd.
And here comes MJ.
Yep. Now the game is for the taking, and with 8:57 to play in the 4th, and Washington by 2, Michael Jordan re-enters the game.
Get ready for November on the World Movies Channel as we present an international selection of outstanding cinema. A washed-up pop star becomes the prime suspect of a brutal robbery. In The Investigation Must Go On. Lifelong friendships are torn apart by money and business gone bad. In Friends Have Reasons.
Venga que, joder, venga que.
A young girl struggles to find herself inside a world of restrictions in The Other Side of Sunday. Midlife crisis and bizarre obsessions turn a successful writer's world upside down in the quiet comedy Kennedy and Me. And Pushkin's literary masterpiece is sumptuously detailed in The Captain's Daughter. This November, tune into the channel that brings you the best premiere features from around the world, the World Movies Channel. Are you ready?
Australia's best-known athletes lay their sporting knowledge on the line. It's right here on ESPN's A Question of Sport. Check your local
Leads with a win over first place Juventus. On to Spain, Barcelona will move into Group Stage 2, and they face Fenerbahce. And later, Porto will advance with a victory over Rosenborg. The UEFA Champions League on ESPN.
A reminder coming up, Game 2 of our opening night doubleheader. The Portland Trail Blazers on the road in L.A. to take on Shaq Kobe and the Lakers. Blazers and Lakers, of course, bitter Pacific Division rivals. Lakers, of course, been getting the better of them lately. New coach Mo Cheeks tries to get those dysfunctional Blazers back on track. And, of course, the Lakers looking to take the first step towards their three-peat. Of course, all that comes after the Knicks and the Wizards from the Garden. We got a moment before we return you to fourth quarter action. And a reminder, 2001 World Series continues here on ESPN. Game 3, Diamondbacks and Yankees from Yankee Stadium, Arizona, leading that series 2-0.
He's 0-2 from the field. He's played 9 minutes in the third quarter. He's back in now in the fourth, and you can see what kind of air he has gotten under those Air Jordans tonight.
I love that graphic.
I do too.
Slight air is just the jump shots.
Yeah.
Big air is, you know, the drives to the hoop where he gets elevated, and the no air of the free throws. So, although some of his jump shots, he's not getting very much air. That's the slight air.
Slight air.
You're talking about 0 for 2. I don't like the fact that he's only taking just 2 shots. You got to take more shots. I like Michael's misses sometimes better than I do other people's makes.
Sprewell tries to carve his way inside and was hacked at and fouled by Christian Laettner, who has been a no-show basically tonight. 5 fouls now on Laettner, who has gone 2 of 11 from the field. Doug Collins told us specifically this morning that he has got to help with Michael Jordan. Jordan can't do it by himself. He's got to get help from Courtney Alexander, but he pointed out 32-year-old Christian Laettner in particular.
Well, what about the confidence right now he's showing in Kwame Brown? Kwame Brown hasn't played the whole second half. 9 minutes to go in the game. Fourth quarter, game 1, he's going. Although he doesn't have any choice because he doesn't have, with the foul trouble of Christian Laettner, plus Christian needs a blow.
So Brown is in, who had 3 rebounds and 3 blocks in limited minutes in the first half. Sprewell again at the line. Nesby with the rebound. Nesby with Brown, Whitney, Michael Jordan, and Popeye Jones. That's the 5 for Washington. Charlie Ward is guarding Whitney. That's knocked away by the quick hands of Shandon Anderson. Michael Jordan, his first field goal in the second half. And the last one he nailed, 4.5 to play in the second quarter. So he's just stopped the drought from the floor.
Well, here's the double screen. Michael should just switch right out there. They got Popeye Jones doing a legal switch now. That used to be illegal, guard double teaming the guy without the ball. But if you're outside the paint, you get away with it.
Ward is uncovered, triggers, and hits it. Charlie Ward, who last year had his second consecutive season of 38% above the three-point arc.
And he's a terrific shooter, and that's the last guy. You know, Shannon Anderson has really been struggling with the three-point shot in this half. You don't want to leave Charlie open.
Whitney's had a hot hand and continues that way.
Well, and it's not smart on the Knicks' part because Whitney and actually Michael are the only 2 guys that I think you really have to guard from the perimeter, and they left Whitney wide open.
See, right here, Michael Jordan can pick up him. Sprewell as he's going to the basket. That's legal. That did not used to be legal, but now it is. They're going to let Charlie Ward shoot threes. They could be in trouble.
There's a miss there. Whitney bobbles and finally reels in the rebound. Washington by 3. They've led by as many as 11. The Knicks in this game led by as many as 10. Michael Jordan with 17 points. Tries to penetrate inside, and he is hacked and fouled by the New York Knicks.
Well, right here, Whitney is not a guy, but here, Charlie Ward, they should not leave him, or Michael Jordan. Right here, Nesby has to get out to Charlie Ward in the corner right there. That is really bad defense on the weak side, not being aware of where the shooters are.
Kurt Thomas takes the place of Harrington. So it's Weatherspoon, Anderson, Ward, Kurt Thomas, and Sprewell. Jones to Whitney, into Brown, who tries to contort and puts it in. So Brown puts it in. And his first 2 points in the NBA by the #1 overall pick, 19-year-old Kwame Brown.
And the good thing about it is that he got it up in traffic. The games that I've seen him before and in practice, he releases the ball when he gets contact. He got hit that time and fought his way through.
Johnny has been criticized by his coach about his demeanor, maybe not paying attention or reluctant to take instruction. What have you found?
Well, and I think that he does react, but that's a sign of immaturity. You sort of expect that from an 18, 19-year-old guy, but the only thing about that is his paycheck doesn't say 18, 19.
No, it doesn't. Here comes Thomas, grinding inside, finding Anderson, half inside. I think Jordan got it. And he did. Michael picks up his third foul.
The problem with being the #1 pick in the draft and being 19 years old is he's got everybody telling him. He's got 4 assistant coaches over there telling him what to do. He's got Michael Jordan telling him what to do. He's probably got Christian Laettner and Popeye Jones telling him what to do. That gets old after a while. You know, sometimes you got to just let the guy play. You can see his instincts. He's been a shot blocker. He's got offensive rebound. He flashed perfect on Chris Whitney's drive and finished strong. He does have some athletic ability. He has a lot to learn about the game, but you got to focus it to 1 or 2 guys talking to him.
Pretty daunting. 19 years old. #1 overall pick in the most recent NBA draft, and personally selected and worked out by Jordan. Brown tries to feed inside to Jones, picked up by Weatherspoon. Ahead it goes to Thomas, to the trailing Anderson, gobbled in by Jordan, into Jones, who's had a good fourth quarter. Oh, and Charlie Ward comes climbing down on Jones. There's the old football instincts of Charlie Ward. We told you in the first half, a Heisman Trophy-winning quarterback in college football, and playing some of that gridiron-type basketball now.
Well, yeah, he was a quarterback. He didn't have many opportunities, but when you throw an interception, you know, you try to go back and kill the guy that took it from you.
And he got him, didn't he? Ward has 4 points. He's 1 of 5 from the field, and he's got 1 tackle.
Oh, I don't know about that. Automatic ejection.
And Ward is not that kind of guy. It was just a hard foul, and much of the chagrin of Coach Jeff Van Gundy, he's going to lose his backup. The good news is for the Knicks, they've got a real good third-string point guard in Howard Eisen.
So you see, Kevin, why Danny does not like that play. Had they called a game like that when he was playing, he wouldn't have last 3 games.
I wouldn't have done that if they threw you out of the game. That's for sure. I would have done it once.
So Isley has not played. He has an interesting thing going tonight as we bring him up. He has played in a ton of consecutive games for many teams. 443 consecutive games. That is the 3rd longest active streak right now in the NBA. He was the understudy to John Stockton with the Utah Jazz, and a good one. Left for big money to Dallas, and now sent in the Rice trade here to Washington. The first free throw is missed by Popeye Jones. His second is in.
I wonder if he feels like he should have stayed in Utah, where he'd probably be the starting point guard next year. He fit in so good. He was playing so great in the playoffs. Last year, he actually got a DNP in the playoffs as Steve Nash is back up against Utah in that series. But he's a terrific player. He's just got to try to find his own niche, give him some time. But I'm surprised that he is not playing on this New York team.
Wizards have shot 80% from the field in this fourth quarter after shooting 25% from the field in the third. Nice offensive rebound by Michael Jordan.
I think it is a tribute, definitely, to Brown that Collins has him out there right now. He'll acquire some great experience and confidence in doing that.
3-second violation. First 3-second violation we have seen tonight. And 13 Wizards turnovers tonight. That was Jordan's hand, by the way. He just knocked him in the back of his head.
Well, here's the double team right here. Kwame Brown wide open right there. He's got to take that shot. He's an excellent jump shooter.
Michael Jordan has scored 17. His Wizards lead by 4.
Found a new champion at the Tennis Masters Cup in play this November. The Kart FedEx Championship Series concludes as racing's fastest cars vie for the final checkered flag. The NFL on ESPN continues with the hard-hitting action of American football. The great clubs of Italy battle for the Scudetto in the Italian Serie A. Great action this November on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
The Kart Championship returns to America for the final race of the season. Gilles de Ferran is the Kart champion for the 2nd year in a row, but there's still some unfinished business. The super fast oval of the California Speedway is the site of this week's race, and the boys are sure to let it out before the fastest cars in the world are put away. The thrills just keep on coming. The 500 presented by Toyota, live Monday on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
and he will not return. He walked off limping with ice. Harrington from the free throw line tonight, 2 of 5. Take a look at Weatherspoon and Anderson, 2 of the newest Knicks. Harrington came mid last season.
Well, Kwame's going to find out he's got about 81 more games to get sprained ankles, buddy.
A lot of hope inside the Garden tonight for the New York Knicks. Without Marcus Camby, and he was the cornerstone of this team. He does so much so well, but out for 5 games with the bum leg and a bad foot.
They're coming up in Game 2 of our NBA on ESPN opening night doubleheader, but still a little more business to be done at Madison Square Garden, where the Knicks and the Wizards are battling it out in the final seconds. Knicks looking to hold on to the opening day victory.
Champion Los Angeles Lakers. And moments ago, the teacher to the pupils inside the Wizards huddle.
We get a stop, we get a score, we win the game. Well, I mean, we know okay, you guys got it? Yeah. Come on, now let's check. Everybody know where they're supposed to be.
So who do you think he's talking about to take that shot?
Well, I mean, we know Michael's going to have the ball in his hands and try to create offense. He's going to have Whitney, Leitner, or Nesby, but they're going to try to get a quick 2, I believe. And you see the new rules here. They're taking the ball out at the hash mark up here instead of back here where they used to have to take it out. But now, as a coach, you don't know if they're going to play a zone or man-to-man. So the players really have to make an adjustment to the defense.
Sprewell is on Jordan. Looking into Jones or Leitner, regardless, it's intercepted by Kirk Thomas and then retaken by the Wizards. Michael Jordan with Whitney, who's had the hot hand. Wizards down by 3. Jordan for the tie. Rebound by Kirk Thomas. Built into the floor and a foul. Jordan's had some open looks. He has had a 7 of 21 display shooting from the floor tonight. And that's Jordan's signature. Late game big shots.
Well, right there, Michael had the good look for the 3, had good rhythm stepping into it. But, you know, one thing as I've observed Michael throughout this game, I just don't think he's got the same, I mean, I know he doesn't have the same kind of conditioning. He's going to get better, I think, as the season goes along. But his conditioning is not what it used to be, that's for sure.
Well, and I think that holds true probably for all the players right now, because a lot of the way this game has been played, people have been thinking as opposed to reacting. It just has been a very methodical kind of game as opposed to getting loose and getting out and playing. And we've got to remember that these guys are just coming off of a lot of teaching because you're coming out of exhibition.
He's played 37 minutes tonight, Jordan has.
Well, and maybe, you know, coming out of training camp, you know, their legs are tired this time of year, but it looks like both teams are tired.
Timeout taken, 16 seconds to play. The Knicks, 93-88 over Jordan's Washington team.
Baby did a bad, bad thing. Baby did a bad, bad thing. You ever loved someone so much you thought your little heart was gonna break in two? I didn't think so.
Eyes Wide Shut, coming soon to Movie One.
Baby did a bad, bad thing.
The Southern Farm Bureau Classic, 3rd round Sunday on ESPN.
The NBA on ESPN continues with more opening night action. Up next, a rematch of last season's Western Conference Finals. Scottie Pippen and the Blazers travel to LA to meet Kobe, Shaq and the champion Lakers.
That Toronto-Orlando game now a final, cruising to victory 114-85. Grant Hill 22 points. Patrick Ewing with quite an effort up front as well, 12.7 rebounds and 3 blocks. Third quarter score, Dallas 3-point lead over Detroit.
who played with Michael Jordan on those great North Carolina teams when Jordan won the national championship.
Coaching's a real distant second, I might add.
Yeah, you've done it. John, you've done it too. You've played and you've coached.
I would agree with him. There's not many things I do agree with Ames, but I agree with
Hey,
that.
there's nothing like playing. I mean, you know, that you just hope all the players that are out there playing just appreciate the time they get to play, because there's nothing better than playing.
Washington out of timeouts, as you just see, and of course no fouls to give. Whitney for three. And the rebound tapped, volleyballed around, picked up by Harrington off to Jackson, and that should do it as Jordan will tail Jackson to midcourt. Whitney makes the steal. A three on the fly. Good! It's a two-point game with 1 second to play, and the inbound to Jackson. Washington can't stop the clock. 0.6 on the clock now. And a nice shot nonetheless by Whitney, who finishes the game 7-16. And he's got 18 points for Washington.
I think Mark Jackson thought he was going to get fouled there intentionally, but they came and stripped it away. They got an outside shot at this game. They got one timeout left. Or Washington has no timeouts left.
Washington has no timeouts.
The 22nd timeout, which now you can advance the ball to the hash mark.
I think Collins is taking that timeout right now. He's right over there on the side calling an illegal, but legal timeout.
That's right. Mark Jackson. Here's an interesting story about Mark Jackson. He has played Michael Jordan in 4 playoff series, going back to 1989 with New York and Indiana, and he's lost them all. So if anyone can give some perspective on what it's like to play Jordan and play him in big games, it's Mark Jackson, who fanned on the first.
Well, he wants to fan on this one. This is the one he's got to miss, because the game's over right here. They don't have enough time. Take some time off the clock with a miss.
And he does, picked up by Jones, the heave, and it's over. The New York Knicks have spoiled Michael Jordan's return to the NBA on his opening night as the Knicks beat the Wizards 93-91.
Portland Trailblazers and LA Lakers are standing by, ready to tip off just a few moments from now. Game 2 of our NBA opening night doubleheader. So Jordan's return falls a bit short, 93-91. The Knicks win it to take their opening game. The Wizards will have to wait another time. Sprewell and Houston combined for 50 points. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.